Well, joining me now from one of those refugee camps in Turkey is Mark Cutts. He's the UN's Deputy Humanitarian Coordinator for the region. Mark, thanks so much for joining us. You are at a refugee camp in Gaziantep in Turkey. Tell me what conditions are like there and what's happening where you are.
Well, I'm in Gaziantep, but our work is in Syria on the other side of the border. So what we do from here is we transport aid across the border to help all of those civilians who are stranded in that war zone. We've had more than 1,000 trucks of aid that were shipped from Turkey into northwest Syria in the last month. But we're trying to scale up our operation because, as you reported there, there have been hundreds of thousands of people on the move recently, and there are just more people moving all the time as Syrian government forces advance, as the airstrikes and shelling continue, and there's just real panic in the area at the moment.
And how easy or difficult has it been to get supplies to those who need it?
Well, it's difficult operating there at the moment because of the ongoing war. We have a lot of humanitarian workers there. It's Syrian humanitarian workers that we're supporting, but it's dangerous. We had 2 of our humanitarian colleagues were killed in the last week alone. Another one was injured a couple of days ago, and many of our staff have had to move with their families. Everyone is affected by this war, and many people are fleeing, including our staff.
And of course, this type of situation disproportionately impacts women and children. Can you explain why that is?
Well, we're talking about a huge civilian population of over 3 million in the Idleb area. These are people who, many of them were displaced from other parts of Syria during this long 8 years of war. They came from places like Aleppo or Homs, or from the ISIS-controlled territory or Eastern Ghouta, and they came to Idlib to seek refuge there. And now they're being forced to flee again. But the majority of that population are women and children and elderly people. That's what's so shocking about this conflict. The Syrian government and its allies, they say they're fighting terrorism, but we know that there are probably more than 100 civilians for every fighter, and these civilians need to be protected.
And how worried are the Turkish authorities about a big influx of refugees coming into Turkey where you are?
Well, there are already 3.5 million Syrian refugees in Turkey. There's more Syrian refugees in Turkey than any other country. And Turkey certainly doesn't want to see more refugees in their country. They're very keen to support a cross-border operation in northwest Syria. That's what we have been doing for the last few years. That's what they would like us to continue doing. But unfortunately, the Idlib area is now under attack itself, and the area is getting smaller and smaller as the Syrian government forces advance.
Okay, Mark Cutts with the UN in Turkey. Thank you so much for talking to us there.
Thank you.
And of course, more information on that story on our website. It's bbc.com/news.